Start conference recording.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's Holy Sabbath Day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As we know, Yahweh, our Elohim, is a spirit, and we must worship him in truth and in spirit. And that takes some doing on our part. Just mere offering the showing up and the mere using the name of Yahweh is not enough for Yahweh, our Elohim. He requires more than that. So we have to consider there are a lot of people who look as though they are worshiping the God of Israel. And these things are giving the God of Israel a bad name. We have to consider, even as we go from place to place and we go out about, people are watching you do what you do. If you are professing to be a Hebrew Israelite, and these things can cause Yahweh's holy name to be blasphemed. So what we have to understand is what does walking together in agreement really mean? As it is written, can two walk together except they be agreed? We have to agree on what's written in this book. And it cannot be based upon what we think, feel, and believe, because every person feels something, every person thinks something, and everybody believes something. So if we go based on what we all think, feel, and believe, we're going to have a different feeling about everything that's in this book. So then we have to reason together out of what is written in the book, not according to what we feel about what's in the book. But before we get started, brother, would you read the oracles and entreat the angel that stands at the door, that he may come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence.
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. What the end of all things is at hand, be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, now as it is written, can two walk together unless they be agreed? The dilemma then becomes, how do we come to an agreement? I recently talked with a brother from another congregation of Hebrew Israelites, and I began to hear the repeated words that we have to agree. After hearing it a couple of times, I asked him about it, and this is what he was taught. He was taught that we could not part ways without agreeing with one another. This explains why you see those angry Hebrews on the side of the street. The concept of agreeing together quickly becomes agreeing with them. When an agreement doesn't happen immediately, they become frantic and angry. Words proceed after that. This concept is in direct contrast against the word, as it is written, keep your conversation honest among the Gentiles, that they may glorify your Father upon the day of visitation. The key word here is upon the day of visitation, not immediately. It is written that we should not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. This confirms the farming concept that no one sows or plants and reaps or produces fruit in the same day. This false concept of instantaneous sowing and reaping has caused many to become overly aggressive when speaking this word. We're going to begin today's sermon in Jude chapter 1. And today, the title of today's sermon is Walking Together in Agreement. Walking Together in Agreement. And we're going to begin in Jude chapter 1. See, there are various things that end up causing other problems. And I noticed, because I knew the word, the brother was careful how he approached me. But if there had been a lost sheep or somebody who didn't know the word, he couldn't come at me in certain ways, because when he did, of course, I stopped him because I knew the word. But you consider, if you give, it's almost like TV show antics. You ever notice everything on a TV show is resolved in 45 minutes? It has to be, because they have to work on the next show. So it's got to be resolved. That hour show is 45 minutes when you take away the commercials. So in 45 minutes, that issue has to be resolved. We're not living on TV shows. You don't have to convince somebody of this entire Bible in 45 minutes or less. And when you try to do it, there's going to be some aggressive nature in doing so. If you're trying to change something that somebody has thought their entire life, and you think you got to do that in 45 minutes or less, there's going to be an issue. There's a reason why these parables that were given to us, they were all based on farming, because everybody had to farm. Even the common man, it doesn't matter if he was a silversmith, he still had to plant. This is what he did over here, but he still got to eat. So the concept of planting your food is something that everybody knew. Being that we are the Walmart generation and everything is instantaneous, we don't consider that. When they're reading and they're talking about sowing and reaping, people understand that that doesn't happen in the same day. That's a season span. You're going to plant at one time of the year. You're not going to go, that's a child's mentality, that you go with a child and you say, hey, we're going to plant this fruit. Then tomorrow the child said, well, Dad, why don't we do that? We planted it. Dad, where are my apples? Because you said we planted. Boy, the season got to change. It's got to have time to do what it needs to do. That's not going to be today. But we have men, children in this word that are going from place to place, town to town, city to city, and they're teaching people, and their leaders have put it upon them that they have to convince these people in that sitting. So then you start to hear all of this aggressive nature because they feel like a failure because they have not succeeded in 45 minutes or less. It's an idiotic concept, but that one concept has gotten some very evil things spoken about Hebrew Israelites because of how certain individual groups have dealt with going out and speaking to people. It is written that this word must be easily entreated. So when we have that concept out in the street, some then of course take that same concept home, thinking that, hey, my wife or my husband or my family, they all need to come to this word too, and they need to come to it in 45 minutes or less. Go ahead, bro. We're going to begin in Jude chapter 1.
Jude, the servant of Yahshua the Mashiach, and brother of Yaakov, to them that are sanctified by Elohim the Father, and preserved in Yahshua the Mashiach, and called. Mercy unto you, and peace, and love be multiplied. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you, and exhort you that you should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints. For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our Elohim into lasciviousness, and denying the only Adonai Elohim and our Adonai Yahshua the Mashiach.
Right. So you have these newly formed situations where people are going from city to city to city, and they're gathering these young brothers, and they have a Bible in their hand while cussing out somebody else on the other hand. I seen one video where a brother was talking about how he was going to rape a woman and the woman was going to like it. You have to understand there are organizations, there are people that are put out who are paid to make sure that people do not look at you as being a viable source of information. So these people have given money to organizations so that they can spread their dogma. You should go and look at those documentaries concerning the Black Panthers and see how they were brought down. There were other people pretending to be Black Panthers, and they came up with really bad ideas, all to bring down the organization. You know, and as much as we heard about even those of you, the hip hop generation, you knew, of course, this East-West Coast beef. There was one European guy that did a story on the Tupac and Biggie situation, and says that, you know, Tupac automatically came out saying Biggie shot him, Biggie shot him, Biggie shot him. Then the guy says all of the rappers were being investigated by the government, and he says those were government agents that were telling him Biggie was the one that had you shot. Biggie was the one that had you shot. Now, most of us, you know, in certain areas, you know, it was divided, so everybody was on Pac's side. So when he started saying, you know, on this side of the United States, so when he started saying, yeah, this man shot me, then everybody started believing it. Come to figure out, this man is saying those were agents that were doing that. In the very night that he was shot, there was agents following him. So how is it they don't know who shot him? You need to consider that there are people who have some money who do not want people to hear this word. And the only way for them to do that, because they can't come against this word, the way they have to do it is to convince people not to listen to you before you start talking. And if you can get Shabadoo and his gang of breakdancing buddies to get on the corner of the street and start yelling out words to people, by the time you tell them you're a Hebrew Israelite, the first thing that pop up in their head is Shabadoo. They're trying to figure out, so are y'all a breakdancing group or what? I'm trying to figure out where these outfits come from. You ever notice they look like Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force? Where did that come from? Because it didn't come out of this book. So, you know, the brothers come up to you. I don't know whether to speak the word or pop lock with it. I don't know what they've been to do. But this is what comes to people's head when you tell them you're a Hebrew Israelite. Why? Because they have spread that doctrine about. That doctrine does not agree with what's written in this book. Nowhere does it tell us to hold a Bible in one hand and cuss somebody out in the other. That's not written in here. They didn't get that out of here. So you have to consider then, how are these 501c3 organizations spreading from state to state? Right. Go ahead.
Jude chapter 1 and verse 5. I will therefore put you in remembrance, though you once knew this, how that the Adonai, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day.
Right. Judgment has not happened until the judgment of the great day. So this goes against this whole Christian concept that somebody dies and immediately goes to heaven. Judgment has not happened. How can anybody go up or down? They are being reserved in everlasting chains until the judgment day. See, this whole fake concept that we've been given is in error. And it also goes against that fake concept that there's nothing you can do to lose your salvation. If angels can lose their salvation, what makes you think yours is taken care of lock, stock, and barrel, and you can't do anything to mess it up? And this book says, if you continue. Otherwise, you too shall be cut off. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire.
Right. Now you know that they're passing they're trying to pass a law, one to either protect the pastors, another one to protect some other things, to keep them from being prosecuted if they do not perform same-sex marriage. Under 501c3 regulations, you cannot go against anything that the government has set up. And 99% of churches are 501c3 organizations. And people want that because people say, well, I want all my donations to be tax deductible. I'm gonna give to the Lord, and then I want my money back. Are you really giving if you're asking for it back? So the people believe that this is something that has to be done. So these organizations cannot fight against what the government has said. Now they're trying to pass a law to see if they can protect the pastors who refuse to marry them. Because right now the pastors can talk all that mess they want to talk. But if somebody decides to sue them because they would not marry a same-sex couple, that pastor can be in some deep trouble. This is the way there is no separation between church and state once you enter into that atmosphere where they have control. And once you fill out those 501c3 papers, they now have control over your establishment. And most people don't understand why they will never learn the truth. Because your 501c3 organization cannot teach it. And consider something. These newly found karate Hebrew groups, they're 501c3. And you need to ask yourself some questions on that. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Likewise also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh, despise dominion, and speak evil of dignities. Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moshe, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, The Adonai rebuke you. But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts, in those things they corrupt themselves. Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in gainsaying of Kor. These are spots in your feast of charity. When they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear, clouds they are without water, carried about of winds, trees whose fruit withereth, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots.
Right. Being carried about with every wind of doctrine. Every time it's some new form of doctrine, now they're off into that. Before you know it, people get off into a whole lot of things that can never add to their salvation. There are a lot of questions that's in the book of Genesis. You spend an enormous amount of time in Genesis trying to figure out all the mysteries of creation. At the end of the day, how is it going to help you? How is that going to help your salvation if you figure out all the mysteries of Genesis? Congratulations if you figure it out. Kudos. How do I help you though? Go ahead.
Jude chapter 1 and verse 13. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Adonai cometh with 10,000 of his saints.
Right, now, don't let any of these Enochians come and read this one thing to you. They'll read this one line, and then they'll come and tell you, see, the Bible talks about the book of Enoch. No. They take this one line, then they got a whole book that says all manner of things. Now, they think this one line justifies that entire book. Don't you think it's so? Don't let them tell you that this one line causes you that you should agree with everything. This book got angels' names. When we read in this book, we can only name a couple of angels out of this whole Bible. There are certain other angels. Brother said, "What's your name?" He said, "What you want to know my name for? Seeing it is a secret." Yeah, Enoch got all of them. He got names on. How you get all these names, man? Seeing that it is secret. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 15. To execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lust, and their mouth speaketh great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage. But, beloved, remember you the words which were spoken before of the apostle of our Adonai Yahshua the Mashiach, how that they told you there should be mockers in the last time, who should walk after their own ungodly lust.
Mm-hmm.
These be they who separate themselves, sensual, having not the Spirit.
They separate themselves. See? And they don't understand that they're separating themselves. But it's by their own actions. I mean, we got certain rooms in here where we do certain things. Yeah. This is the room where we have holy convocation. The dining hall back there is where we go and eat. Now, if we get ready to go in the dining hall, do you purposely separate yourself to go? We're going to eat in there. Where are you going to eat somewhere else for? See, it be those that separate themselves. And then people do that on a level of the word. They separate themselves by these strange doctrines. Having those itching ears, desiring to hear something new. They want to hear the next new thing. Like I told y'all before, there are people that have been in the Word, but after a while, they want to hear something new. They want to hear another thing. Now, they haven't perfected what they've heard. The whole walking in righteousness part. No. Let me hear something new. And that desiring to hear something new gets them off into a lot of these things. So all of those, that book of Enoch presents an opportunity for a lot of people to get off into a lot of idolatry. The first thing you see on one of the books is an angel with wings. Now, if you got any inkling of understanding, the first moment you look at a book that's got an angel with wings on the cover, you should already question what's in that book right there. In this book, it talked about it was animals that had those wings. Every time it talked about angels, it says, and I saw a man. So who's this winged dude you got here on the cover? Go ahead.
Verse 20. But you, beloved, building up yourselves on your most holy faith, praying in the Holy Ghost. Keep yourselves in the love of Elohim, looking for the mercy of our Adonai Yahshua the Mashiach unto eternal life. And of some have compassion, making a difference. And others save with fear, pulling them out of the fire, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh.
Right. Now, sometimes you try to pull somebody out the fire, but they like it because they warm. And you try to pull them out the fire, they don't want to come out the fire. And they get mad at you for trying to pull them out. Go ahead.
Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling, and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy, to the only wise Elohim our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. Amen.
All right, let's go to Luke chapter 6. See, many people have gotten in this word and then are gone home and caused all kind of problems because they're trying to evangelize their whole family immediately. Different people understand at different rates. Then you have those that understand the word. They just ain't going to do nothing. I've had, several people say, I understand I believe that what you're saying, but I just like my church. It's a community, right? The lake of fire is gonna be quite a community. You know, say all your family and friends, all y'all can burn together. How about that? Y'all hold hands. Yeah, sing Kumbaya. Go ahead. Luke chapter 6, and let's start that at verse 20.
And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, Blessed be you poor, for yours is the kingdom of Elohim. Blessed are you that hunger now, for you shall be filled. Blessed are you that weep now, for you shall laugh.
Right, but we want all the good life now, not understanding of how long eternity is. So we ready to go ahead and sit in the break room. No, it's time to work now. It ain't time for you to sit in the break room and drink all the Gatorade. Go ahead.
Blessed are you when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake.
Right. And that's what we ended up encountering, when they shall separate you from their company. Let me tell you something, man. Before people even had a get-together, I knew about it. They always invited me to their shindig. I started speaking their word, and I don't know who we want to talk over here, man. He gonna make people uncomfortable. He gonna be talking about the Bible, and I know my sister coming in her cat suit, and that's gonna be, she gonna be around there meowing, and and it's not gonna be a good situation. Right.
Verse 23. Rejoice you in that day, and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. But woe unto you that are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are full, for you shall hunger.
Right, but you don't find this being read a lot in Sunday morning. Why? Because they tell you God wants everybody to be rich. So when you start reading stuff like that, they're not going to talk about that in church. Creflo said Jesus was a carpenter. He built subdivisions. Now, I don't know where he pulled that lie out of, but he had to reach deep for that lie. Deep for that. I mean, he reached down in his magical hat of lies, and he pulled out that, because they have to explain why it's okay for them to buy a $50 million plane. And the only way for you to tell that lie, now you got to tell another lie for that lie. See? So you got to make it said, Christ said, he said, the Son of Man have not where to lay his head. How you get he built subdivision? Right. Go ahead.
Woe unto you that laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. Verse 26. Woe unto you, when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets.
Right. Are you trying to make everybody like you? I can tell you, you're never going to succeed. Because as you make the man on the left happy, you're going to make the man on the right upset. You are never going to fulfill making everybody happy. And there's some people that's what you can watch them try to please everybody in the room. It ain't gonna happen. And the thing about man is this: what man likes changes from day to day. So as you make man happy on Monday, and he said, man, I made him happy on Monday. So Tuesday, you try to do the same thing. He like, nah, that don't make me happy today. That was my Monday happy. Tuesday happy is all together. Then Wednesday, you got a Tuesday happy. Now you keep trying to balance that from person to person. You got a Monday happy for this person. You got a Monday happy for that person. You got a Monday happy for this person. Then you got a Tuesday happy for this person. Then you got a Tuesday happy, but the day wasted. So then you got to figure out which one of the happiest we on for you, and then because now you got several people in the room. Then you got to figure out what's gonna make all them happy on the day. Man, I ain't got time to be figuring that out. I'm gonna deal with the word. If you don't like it, you know when you came in here, there was a door, and that door swings. Just get on the other side of it. That's all you gotta do. Because all we're going to deal with is what's in this book. If you don't, I'm not going to worry about trying to make nobody happy. Because I know how people going to change. What makes people happy 1 minute will not make them happy later. And we are not supposed to be servants of the people. We're supposed to be servants of Yahweh. So then we are to speak what thus says Yahweh. Yahweh warned the prophets, look, don't be angry at the looks on their faces. Speak the word that I'm telling you to speak. When me and Brother Kish went down to that prison, we were teaching, and there was a brother in there, I swear, that brother had muscles in his ears. This brother ripped up. He was looking at me and Kish like this. I was like, bro, I don't know if we're going to make it out of here. I don't know if we're going to make it out. This brother was muscled up, and he was looking. His whole face looked like a raisin, boy. The more I read, the more problem he had. I was like, and Yahweh said, yo, what you said, what? I like, Kish, I'm gonna miss you, brother. Hey, if we going down, I'm going down swinging, baby. So hey, we kept on reading. And then you can tell now we both seeing it, but neither one of us can talk because at this point, we in the middle of teaching. Afterward, Kish like, you seen that big brother? Yeah. See the big brother. Just the brother's ears could have beat me up. Pow. Then what? How will I see him? Yeah, I saw him. Later on, we come back in the room, because we had 3 different teachings at that prison. It was the third one, right? Where he was the last one. His face went like a raisin that third time. But that was on his own. He was a little bit calmer. See, now he done had time to process the word. Now, let Bruce Leroy and his band of Kung Fu Bandits run up on Muscle Man and try to convince him in 45 minutes you would have ate some of that Kung Fu dirt out there. See, you don't rush that. See, you ain't gonna see him trying to rush that. Believe you me, I wasn't rushing that. I was like, he'll get it when he get it. Next. But see, that's what righteousness is, though. Will you deal with the guy who got a pocket protector rough just because you think you can beat him up? See, righteousness is you're going to deal with the big built brother the same way you're going to deal with the dude with the pocket protector. I'm going to try to talk him out of a fight just like I'm going to try to talk Muscle Man out of a fight. I'm not going to just be rude to Poindexter because I think I can beat him. That ain't righteous then. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 6 and verse 27. But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. And unto him that smiteth you on the one cheek offer also the other. And him that taketh away your cloak, forbid not to take your coat also. Give to every man that ask of you, and of him that taketh away your goods ask them not again. And as you would that men should do to you, do you also to them likewise.
Right. So if you don't want to be cussed out on the side of the street, don't turn around and carry a Bible and turn around and cuss somebody else out. But see, what people do is they take this and deal with it the way that they want to deal with it. So they say, well, I don't have no problem with people cussing at me, so then people shouldn't have no problem with me cussing at them. No. See, you treat your brother or your neighbor as it is written in the book, not how you want to be treated according to your misunderstanding of the word. See, so if somebody grew up in the middle of watching their parents shoot at each other, then they think that's normal. So then they think that that gives them the right to go shoot at other people because, well, you know, this is how I grew up, you know. Well, no. That's not normal. And this is where people think that they can get in here and twist this to fit their personal situation. It says do good to all men, especially those of the household of faith. So just because you grew up in a situation where maybe you saw your parents cussing each other out every day and you have gotten to the point where you think that's normal, then you need to be deprogrammed and reprogrammed because that's not normal. And that's how some people operate in their relationship because they have already gotten what they think is normal. That is in their heart. So now they're going about their relationships the same way. Go ahead.
Verse 32. For if you love them which love you, what thank have you? For sinners also love those that love them. And if you do good to them which do good to you, what thank have you? For sinners also do even the same. And if you lend to them of whom you hope to receive, what thank have you? For sinners also lend to sinners, to receive as much again. But love you your enemies, and do good, and lend hoping for nothing again. And your reward shall be great, and you shall be the children of the highest. For he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil.
Mm-hmm.
Be you therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful.
Be you merciful as also your Father is merciful. Now, we spoke last week, I think it was, on the whole setup of if your brother sin against you, rebuke him. If he repents, then forgive him. Don't take these things out of context and think that, you know, oh, you ought to be forgiving somebody while they are in the midst of stabbing you. The same one that said this also gave us an equation about sin and forgiveness. So don't take these things out of context. Let's go to Judges chapter 13.
Judges chapter 13 and verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of Yahweh, and Yahweh delivered them into the hand of the Philistine 40 years.
Now, the first thing you have to deal with is, first of all, we have been given this group of people that everybody has paraded around the earth through their media outlets as being the children of Israel, that they are the Jews, that they are Yahweh's chosen people. The one thing you're going to understand is that Yahweh's form of punishment for the children of Israel is captivity. It is written in the Torah in Deuteronomy 28. It is written all the way throughout. His way of punishment is captivity. The people who call themselves the Jews, they cannot produce these captivities. Understand, the book of Judges is constant captivities over and over for disobedience against Yahweh. So the amazing part is somehow we have allowed somebody to tell us that these people are the Jews, yet they cannot produce one captivity. Not one. What we hear of over and over is the Holocaust. The problem is we can't read in this book where Yahweh said he was going to punish the children of Israel by Holocaust. But I can read to you where it says he's going to make you a servant, that he's going to put a yoke of iron around your neck. Ask the people who call themselves the Jews, present us any evidence of a yoke of iron being around your neck. And they can't produce one, but we can produce ours. That yoke of iron is where they put that thing on your neck and made you plow like an animal. We still got the pictures. Ask them to produce theirs. They don't have any because it never happened. And let me tell you something. You can't put no Gentile out in the sun for 12 hours. You might do it one day, but that next day, their skin on fire. If that was their land, there would not be an increased number of people in Israel having skin cancer. How many Africans you read about having skin cancer? Man, the sun is killing Africans. Why? Because they're supposed to be there. Right. See what happened when you go somewhere where you're supposed to be? Stuff happened to you. Now, why would Yahweh give you a land and then say, by the way, sun gonna fire you till you die? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, though. That don't make no sense. Go ahead, bro.
I was just saying, Abia and I was talking about this earlier today about how everything that's happening was, if you just look at history, the books was written a long time ago, but it's happening now.
Right.
How can you not see that, that it's real?
People don't want to see, brother, because folks want to stay in a certain place. And having to really think about that takes them out of that protective zone. Don't worry, be happy. Folks don't want to come out of that. So they really don't want to see. And if you go into a situation already not wanting to see, that's what you're going to get out of it. No matter what happens. Brother Kish was looking at something. We were talking about the New Year's thing and the watch night. And he went on the internet and went on this thing and talking about, man, the black churches they got this thing for watch night. I said, man, that's a smoke screen. And now the black churches have come up talking about how they got into watch night was they were watching for when slavery was going to be over and blah, blah, blah. Any person who has any inkling of understanding know that laws are already set to go in motion. You don't have to wait for a law to go in motion. They've already decided. When the law was passed in 2012, they had already said it's going to effect in 2016. So you ain't got to sit there and say you wondering whether or not it's going to go into effect. It's already set when it's going to go into effect. They tried to give an excuse as to when they started worshiping the two-headed god Janus. See, the Gentiles know they're worshiping the two-headed god Janus. They know what they're doing at the stroke of midnight on January 1st. This is the reason they named it January, after Janus. So they knew what they were doing, but people want to still stay in that protective zone. They know that we've been teaching on these things. So what the black church do? Come up with an excuse for their paganism. See? There's that thing where they say, how do you plead? Innocent or guilty? Guilty with an excuse. What? You ever been in court when they did that? Oh, yeah, I said, guilty with an explanation, Your Honor. Okay, well, yes, we did worship the devil. But, right, there's an excuse for that. Interesting. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 13 and verse 2. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold now, you are barren, and beareth not, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray you, and drink not wine nor drink, and eat not any unclean thing, nor strong drink. Now lo, you shall conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto Elohim from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of Elohim came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of Elohim. Very terrible.
Very terrible. So it was power, it was scary power, but it was still a man. But it was strange power in the presence of this man. Go ahead.
But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. But he said unto me, Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. And now drink no wine nor strong drink, whether eat or neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb to the day of his death.
So, not eating anything unclean and being a Nazarite gave this man a certain amount of power. But people said, we done cleansed pork. They got clean pork, now they got kosher pork. See, the pork was fed good things. See, so now you can eat the pork. Where do you get that from? Soon they go to the doctor. First thing the doctor said, ma'am, sir, y'all have to leave that pig alone. That stuff killing you. I could have told you that the pig was gonna kill you. And I don't have a PhD. I could have told you that pig was gonna kill you. First thing they tell you, get away from the pig. And then folks act like it's a revelation. But by then, you done had 50 years of eating that pig. And now, you done got addicted to it. Now they like that pig so much, now they sneak and eat pig. They around the corner. Breath smell like chitlins. Everybody know you've been eating that poo. We can smell it. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Then Manoah entreated Yahweh and said, O my Adonai, let the man of Elohim which you did send, come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born.
Right. Send the man again, not have that winged guy fly on back over here. Right. Go ahead.
And Elohim hearkened to the voice of Manoah. And the angel of Elohim came again unto the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah her husband was not with her. And the woman made haste and ran and showed her husband.
Now, how many sisters would have done that? How many sisters would have stopped? This man, now the angel done came. Oh, let me go get my husband and take out running. Some sisters would have been like, he done came to me. He did not come to you. Believe that. Right. Right.
And said unto him, Behold, the man has appeared unto me, that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose, and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said unto him, Are you the man that spaketh unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now let your words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? And the angel of Yahweh said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. And Manoah said unto the angel of Yahweh, I pray you, let us detain you, until we shall have made ready a kid for you. And the angel of Yahweh said unto Manoah, Though you detain me, I will not eat of your bread. And if you will offer a burnt offering, you must offer it unto Yahweh. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of Yahweh. And Manoah said unto the angel of Yahweh, What is your name? That when your sayings come to pass, we may do you honor.
Right. So we're going to give you some honor once this stuff come to pass. Go ahead.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto him, Why ask you thus after my name, seeing it is secret?
Right. But them Enochians got all kind of names of angels. Them Enochians got all these names. He said, why ask you my name, seeing it is secret? There ain't but a handful of people out of this book that we can name as angels. How you get 30 different, they got so many names. How you get all this? And let them tell it, he went to heaven, he wrote the book, and somehow the book came back down. That part, it didn't explain in the book. But somehow it came back down. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 19. So Manoah took a kid with a meat offering and offered it upon a rock unto Yahweh. And the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of Yahweh ascended in the flame of the altar. And Manoah and his wife looked on it, and fell on their faces to the ground. But the angel of Yahweh did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of Yahweh.
Then he knew. This book says, be careful, for some of you have entertained angels unawares. Now, he know for sure when the dude left in a flame. I mean, you set a fire and the dude jump in it and disappear. That don't pretty much seal the deal for you. But you can't redo whatever you done said to him, though. Now, think about it. You see some person who you think is a bum on the street, and you talk to him nasty, and you do all of this stuff. Now, that's done. You've already done what you've done. And then you walk over there, and there's some people warming themselves at one of them little barrels with the fire on it. And he walk over there and jump in the fire and disappear. Now you realize that was an angel who you just mistreated. Right. That's how Yahweh gonna get you with your little nastiness. Cause see, people go home, people play Sabbath on Saturday. Oh, we play Hebrew. Oh, we just we just sweet as diabetes. But then you gotta go home. How you talk to one another when you get to the house? See, you keep that up. Yahweh got a way of bringing that out. You gonna go and talk to some unsuspecting person, and Yahweh gonna deal with it. So you think you can hide from Yahweh? You keep on thinking that. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 13 and verse 22. And Manoah said unto his wife, we shall surely die, because we have seen Elohim. But his wife said unto him, if Yahweh were pleased to kill us, we would not have received a burnt offering and meat offering at our hands, neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would as at this time have told us such things as these.
Right. So you got some people claiming that they've talked to God, they've dealt with angels, yet this man's so scared, his wife got to calm him down. We about to die. There ain't no doubt about it, we finna die. She got to calm him down. Baby, we ain't gonna die. If he wanted us to die, we already be dead. But then again, how many women would have consoled their man? Or would they have added fuel to this fire? When he said, we gonna die, we sure will, we gonna die. We are doomed. So we might well go down here and buy this stuff that I was talking about last week. Wait a minute, what I got to do with this? Right. Go ahead.
And the woman bare a son, and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and Yahweh blessed him. And the Spirit of Yahweh began to move him at times in the camp of Dan between Zorah and Eshtal.
Okay, so this man has been raised up for judgment, to be a judge in Israel, and his life is just marked with controversy. I mean, from beginning to end, it is marked with controversy. First of all, he ends up, most of the situations come from him dealing with the strange women of the people. And Yahweh letting it happen. Because this is how he keeps dealing with these people. Go ahead.
And Samson went down to Timnath, and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother, and said, I've seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife.
Now, he said to his folks, get her to me to wife. Now, this is where you understand the culture of the Hebrews. See, the daddy of the woman, here in this twisted generation, the daddy of the woman is supposed to pay for the wedding. You see, the one who's seeking the woman, he's talking to his folks. Why? Because they have to present substance to go and get that woman out of somebody else's house. Because like my brother said before, that house is losing a woman. If that house is losing a woman, then they are losing some valuable resources out of their house. You don't just come and take valuable resources and say, because I love her. Well, I'm going to need you to love some chickens, some goats. What you got here? What you bringing? Because you ain't just bringing, no love. Love ain't feeding nobody around here. So here you see the difference in this twisted doctrine that we have today, where the man is supposed to pay. If his daughter gets married, then he's supposed to pay for the wedding. That's not backed up by Scripture. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of your brethren, or among all my people, that you go to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well.
Now, you can see that the parents would definitely have a little indignation if they got to give up their substance and then you going to get some heathen woman. Your parents will tell you in a minute that they don't like what you got going on now. Consider if they had to pay for it. There would definitely be some situations between you and your parents if they got to turn around and pay for this situation. And they want to know, what kind of woman are we offering our substance for? A Philistine? Y'all definitely gonna have a problem. Because she gonna have one belief and you gonna have another. Those are problems already. Before there's anything, y'all got a difference in culture. Y'all have a difference in belief. Go ahead.
But his father and his mother knew not that it was of Yahweh that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel.
So Yahweh using that situation, and all he doing is running after these strange women time and time again, but it ends up putting him into an altercation with the men of that place. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Then went Samson down, and his father and his mother to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath. And behold, a young lion roared against him. And the Spirit of Yahweh came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid. And he had nothing in his hand. But he told not his father or his mother what he had done. And he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And after a time he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands, and went on eating, and came to his father and mother, and he gave them, and they did eat. But he told them not. He told not them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. And it came to pass, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If you can certainly declare it me within the 7 days of the feast, and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments.
All right. So Samson gambling with the Philistine. Go ahead.
But if you cannot declare it me, then shall you give me 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. And they said unto him, Put forth your riddle, that we may hear it. And he said unto them, Out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. And it came to pass on the 7th day, that they said unto Samson's wife, Entice your husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn you and your father's house with fire. Have you called us to take what we have, as it is not so? And Samson's wife wept before him, and said, He does but hate me, and love me not. Ye have put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and have not told it me. And he said unto her, Behold, I have not told it my father nor my mother, and shall I tell it you? And she wept before him the 7 days, while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her, because she lay sore upon him.
Right, the power of nagging. The power of nagging. This dude can pick up the balls of the city, but that nagging is just can't stop. Right. Good.
And she told the riddle to the children of her people. And the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day before the sun went down, What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion? And he said unto them, If you had not plowed with my heifer, you had not found out my riddle.
Now he pissed. If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you would not even known this riddle. Right. He knew exactly who told. Why? Power of nagging. And then he succumbs to this power again. With all this strength that he has, he still has this situation that continuously comes again as he starts to deal with Delilah. How does that whole thing come about? She nags him some more, and eventually he ends up telling his secret of his strength. So what they do, come in, cut off the man's locks, and put his eyes out. So you have this thing each time. They were not in agreement, although they walked together. They so-called joined in a union, but you see that neither one of these women were there for him. Because when the situation came, they did whatever they needed to do to find out where his power was and then reveal that unto another source. So this tells you that even as powerful as this man was, every man need to have a situation, even women, where you can turn your ear off and stop entertaining all the noise of the background. Yeah, somebody take a switch back down to that boy beating on that door. Because as this nagging keeps going on, he then releases his power. So at what point do you get to the point where this is your goal, but at some point you just are changed from your goal because of a constant questioning? You got to learn how to turn your ears off even though you're in the presence of a situation. Because you won't be able to stop somebody. This is one thing we used to hear when we were little. You can't stop nobody from talking that their mouth. Only thing you can do is stop yourself from listening. You can't, I don't care what you do. You ain't gonna be able to stop somebody else from talking. So at some point, those are things that we have to understand. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13.
First Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not love, I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal.
And a tongue is a language. So don't let Creflo and his people tell you that a tongue is that goo gobbledygoo that they be speaking. Oh, I'm finna pray in tongue. According to this book, it says if one speak tongues, another one should be there to interpret. So as he's speaking that goo gobbledygoo, is it somebody else who's standing by there saying, oh, what he said was such and such and such and such? A tongue is a language. They speak different languages because people are from different areas. Would it do me any profit? Would it profit y'all if I decided to come in here and I'm going to do the whole sermon in tongues? Or what? It don't matter if I did it in a Spanish tongue. Who would understand anything? Nope, Yahweh might. Because she understand all kind of strange languages and stuff like that. But normal people would not understand nothing that I'm saying. So how would that profit any of you? If I came up here, ¿cómo se llama? Ladies and gentlemen, that's Karima Lujubar. How would that help any of you? It wouldn't help any of y'all. But see, what they've turned this so-called speaking in tongues into some vain show that the Spirit is with you. That's not what that is. That's as strangers come about. you're able to speak in one language, and they are able to understand the mysteries of Elohim without you having to learn all the various languages of wherever those people came from. That's what speaking in tongues is. Not that stuff. And how can it be a gift of the Spirit when those people over there teaching on Sunday morning, they got a class for speaking in tongues? So you telling me that you got a class for the gift of the Spirit? So you got so much control of the Spirit that you can teach it. Now that's deep right there. That's some deep kind of blasphemy right there. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 2. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not love, I am nothing.
Right. The word used there for charity is agape. This agape love, and this is where and why I say, so you spend all that time in Genesis and you think you can figure out the foundations of the world. Congratulations. Though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains, if you don't have any love, it's not profiting you one bit. So what good does it do for you to spend all that time dealing with those things and not the other thing? So you spend too much time in one area, you end up losing something in another. Go ahead.
And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burnt, and have not love, it profiteth me nothing. Love suffereth long, and is kind. Love envieth not. Love vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up.
Right. And do we become puffed up against one another and then say and proclaim that we love one another? See, these are things that we have to consider. Israel began as a family, then into a nation. And people sometimes forget that we start dealing with this whole thing of the nation of Israel and forget Israel is a family. Family first, nation second. Go ahead, bro.
No, in verse 3, it actually shows you the difference between that natural charity and what true charity, what true love is.
Right.
Because people out there feeding the poor, they believe that charity is,
right. Right. They believe that that's love, but what it becomes is an outward showing of love, but the inner part is not there. Just like it says, Yahweh Elohim is a spirit, so he seeketh those who's going to worship him in truth and in spirit. So you can do as many things for the outward showing, if that you can muster up. But Yahweh knows man's heart, and Yahweh not only sees what you do, he sees what's in your heart when you did it. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh not evil.
Right. It's not easily provoked. This is how love is supposed to operate. And you gotta be careful, because the adversary will love to pull us off the course, and then we forget the direction that love is supposed to take. Go ahead.
Rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. Beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Love never faileth. For whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away.
Right. So the principal part then is this. All these other things are going to eventually either be fulfilled or done, or cast aside, one way or another. When I came into this word, there were people that had been in the word 30 years before me. At the end of the day, their knowledge didn't help them. Go ahead.
For we know in part, and we prophesy in part.
Right. You ain't gonna never know everything in this book. I don't care how much you study. And Yahweh is not giving you an aptitude test like that. There are some things that we have to know, yes. But the real test is in here, not in here. Go ahead.
But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away with, or be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
Mm-hmm.
For now we see through a glass, darkly. But then face to face, now I know in part. But when I shall know, even as I also am known, and now abideth faith, hope, love, these three. But the greatest of these is love.
The greatest of these is love. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6. See, we have to consider this as we go about to speak Yahweh's word. We have to understand that this is Yahweh's legacy. You have to be careful how you speak it. It has to be spoken with love. This doesn't mean that you just allow people to say any old thing. I mean, if I say the things against what's taught on Sunday morning, I can't then say I'm going to ignore the things that other Hebrew Israelites teach, and it doesn't go coincide with what's written in this book either. Wrong is wrong, right is right. I don't care what you call yourself. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, and let's read verses 14 through 18.
Be you not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion has light with darkness?
Right. One way or another, there's going to have to be a change. If you are going to fellowship with unrighteousness, then either you're going to have to change or downplay yourself to fit them, or they're going to have to step up to fit you. One or the other is going to happen. And because we want to fit in with other people, we then turn our light down purposely so that they won't feel uncomfortable. Go ahead.
And what concord has Christ with Belial? For what part has he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement has the temple of Elohim with idols? For you are the temple of the living Elohim. As Elohim has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them, and be you separate, saith the Adonai, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you.
When it comes down to dealing with these unclean things, we are supposed to be separate from them, not separate from one another. Go ahead.
And will be a father unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Adonai Elohim Almighty.
All right, let's go to Leviticus 19, because we have to deal with this unequally yoked situation, because there's unequally yoked in the natural, and then there's unequally yoked in the spiritual sense. Leviticus 19, and start that at verse 9.
And when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not wholly reap the corners of your field, neither shall you gather the gleaning of your harvest.
So everything that is in your own vineyard still does not belong to you. First thing people say, they get a raise, man, we're gonna go get us a new car. We got more money. It never does occur. Hey, maybe he gave you that money for you to help somebody else. No, I don't think so. I've been looking at this new car. Yeah, Yeah, that's surely what he gave me that money for. Go ahead.
And you shall not glean your vineyard, neither shall you gather every grape out of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and stranger. I am Yahweh your Elohim.
Right. They're not for you. They're for the poor and the stranger. See, that's a strange concept when you're trying to deal with this prosperity doctrine, and we call money a blessing. So anytime somebody say that they blessed, what they trying to tell you is they got some money. Too blessed to be stressed, child. I'm blessed. Right. And they pulling out some money. So now we equate any kind of blessing with monetary gain. So if that then becomes what the measurement is, ain't nobody trying to give away nothing. Go ahead.
You shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. And you shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shall you profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahweh. You shall not defraud your neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with you all night until the morning.
Right, and most people don't even know that you're supposed to pay a man after a day of work. See, remember the whole thing was an honest day's pay. You have to wonder where that come from. It didn't say an honest week's pay. An honest day's pay. Not an honest week. But see, now we've gotten accustomed to the way that the adversary has set up his system and holding the pay of its workers. Go ahead.
Verse 14. You shall not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shall fear your Elohim. I am Yahweh. You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. You shall not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty. But in righteousness shall you judge your neighbor. You shall not go up and down as a talebearer among your people, neither shall you stand against the blood of your neighbor. I am Yahweh. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall in any wise rebuke your neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him.
What does that mean? You shall in any wise rebuke your neighbor. It says you shall not hate your brother in your heart. When you got issues that you hadn't dealt with, and they just churning, and they just growing. And then what happened is people start carrying slight indignation, which grows into more indignation, because they got something that they got against somebody or one another, and it's just been, they've been carrying it around. And you look up, and it's 6 months, a year later. Because you have to ask yourself, how did you get to the point of hating your brother? Because you're carrying around that issue that you haven't dealt with. And it gets heavier, and it gets heavier, and the heavier it gets, now you can't do the things that you would. Now you can't operate how you normally operate. Why? Because you keep carrying this heavy weight with you. Everywhere you go, you move up and go from here to that wall. You got to pick up, let me get my bag of hatred. I'm left it around here somewhere. This is my bag of hate. You got to pick up that bag of hate and walk over there. Hey, you're not able to move freely because of that, what you're carrying around. You need to empty that bag. Go ahead.
Verse 18. You shall not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of your people.
Right. How you going to bear a grudge? Because you carrying that thing. See? That thing that you keep carrying. That's what's going to cause the grudge situation. See? And everybody want to deal with the other person's part. Well, they did such and such. What you do? Well, I ain't do nothing. See? I ain't do nothing at all. Right. Go ahead.
But you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahweh. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your cattle gender with a diverse kind. You shall not sow your field with mingled seed, neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon you.
Right. In mingling these things, when you start talking about this unequally yoked, now you're mingling something where the result of it is less than pure on either side. Each one of us is mingled in a sense between our mother and father. Your mother has a mindset, your father has a mindset. Them two got together and made you. Now, there's certain parts of that mindset that you've gotten different parts of that. Some of those things don't mix well together. Sometimes you can add sugar to water and you stir it up. Now, that sugar water is fine. Then there's other things, you add all the water, you'll find out they're in the same glass, but they don't mix. You can stir it up, the water gonna be on one side, and the oil gonna be on the other side. They gonna be in the same glass, but they're not gonna mix. Because they unequally yoked. They are two totally different substances that will not mix. This is the very thing when Samson said, I see a woman and she pleased me. Automatically his parents said, can't you find a woman among your own people? Well, they're going to have differences of opinion. This is how Israel got deeper into idol worship. See, we go out and we deal with anybody who we think look good. We don't know nothing about them. They just look good. But guess what? Those people got a culture. So now you already have a mingled thing in between you from your father and your mother. Now you're trying to become one with somebody who has a totally different culture. Now some of those things are not mixing. And the harder that mix is, the more of a problem you're going to have. That don't mean that Yahweh does not want you to do that. Just like some people you already married when you came in the Word. That's a situation that you got to deal with. Yahweh didn't give you the understanding of this Word. You were already married when you had the understanding of this Word. So then you have to deal with allowing the time for those things to mix together correctly. It doesn't just give you the right, as it is written. If a brother or sister be married to an unbeliever and they be disposed to stay, let not the brother or sister depart. Even though there's not a clear understanding of this word. Now, there's a difference between not understanding and then interfering with you serving Yahweh. That's something altogether different. Altogether different. Let's go to Amos chapter 3. See, they cannot believe and just leave you alone. Or they cannot believe and just let out the air your tires when you get ready to go to church. Wait a minute now. These tires had air in them when I went to go wash my face. Where the air go out my tire? Right. So that's something altogether different. That is not quite the same thing. Amos chapter 3, and let's start that at verse 1.
Hear this word that Yahweh hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Families of the earth. See, we get so caught up into this Israelite thing that we're dealing with the nation of Israel. You had forgot that Israel is a family. Families have spats. But do we kill each other over whether or not one of them wanted raisins in their oatmeal and the other one didn't? Now that's become a murderous thing? No. Families gonna have disagreements. We just have to let this book decide how we're gonna deal with those disagreements. and then we're able to move on. But if it gets to a point where it's all about what you want, what you think, what you feel, then that's not a family. See, I tell people that there's legal selfishness and then there's illegal selfishness. See, I got kids. I got a 22-year-old. He's legally selfish. He's legally selfish. He come in the house, man, with a grandiose meal for himself. Just. Then I got the kids in there watching food fall off his lip. I'm like, bruh, did you not think about the hell that you were causing in my house when you brought this home for yourself? He's legally selfish. He ain't got no kid. He ain't got no kid. It didn't even cross his mind. And really, when you young, it's a legal selfishness. Now, when you married and you got kids, and you come through the door, and you ain't get no chicken for your kid, and you just eating the chicken, and the kid's looking at you, well, why aren't you? Oh, you're probably hungry, huh? Yeah, they're probably hungry. That's illegal selfishness. And some people still stuck in that mindset. They got families. They're married. And they still stuck. Everything still revolves around them. The oil and the water in the same bowl, but they didn't mix. Water down here, the oil up here. They're in the same glass, though. When you look at them, they're in the same glass, but they ain't mixed. They're completely separate in that glass. Go ahead.
You know, even with the family spats, that's nothing new. We can look in the book and see that we've been having family spats. We had one where it was 11 against one tribe at one point.
Yeah.
But then what? Still helped turn around and help that one tribe to rebuild itself and start becoming wiped out.
Yeah, they had to stop or they were going to wipe the whole tribe out. And a tribe can't be wiped out of Israel. So they had to stop. Go ahead.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Verse 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed?
Right. How can two walk together except they be in agreement? So when we deal with situations, even within our house, there has to be a common understanding of what's guiding us. Are we guiding ourselves by what we think, feel, and believe? Or are we guiding ourselves according to what's written in this book? Go ahead.
Will a lion roar in the forest when he has no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he have taken nothing? Can a bird fall in a snare upon the earth where no gin is for him? Shall one take up a snare from the earth and have taken nothing at all? Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city and Yahweh hath not done it? Surely the Adonai Elohim will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets.
Now, consider that. Yahweh, this great, all-knowing Elohim, omnipotent in power and strength and everything. But he don't do anything unless he tell his servants, the prophets. He don't work for them. They work for him. But being graceful in his power, he don't move until he tells them and they understand his movement first. But he got all the power. He ain't got to ask nobody nothing. Go ahead.
Amos chapter 3 and verse 8. The lion has roared. Who will not fear? The Adonai Elohim hath spoken. Who can but prophesy? Publish in the palaces at Ashdod and in the palaces in the land of Egypt, and say, assemble yourselves upon the mountains of Samaria, and behold the great tumults in the midst thereof, and the oppressed in the midst thereof. For they know not to do right, saith Yahweh, who store up violence and robbery in their palaces.
Yeah, you have to, when you put this question together, when you say, can two walk together except they be agreed, consider the situation with Job's wife. She was fine as long as everything went well. Soon as there was a problem, she wanted him, look, just go ahead and curse Elohim and die. Just go ahead. Look at you. You got all these sores on you, and you look all nasty. You done lost all your money. You ain't rich no more. You know, when I married a rich man. I mean, with all our cattle gone. You know, just go ahead and curse Elohim and die. So when Yahweh still didn't see fit to take that man from that struggle. He still had to go all the way through that struggle. But then Yahweh has a righteous accounting after everything is done. Then it's time to restore this man of everything that has been taken from him. That's including the children, the substance. Now, do you think Yahweh turned around and gave him kids? Now, first of all, this woman was already grown because them kids was grown. This is an aged woman. Yahweh turned around and gave him more kids. In other words, Yahweh gave him a whole nother situation. He ain't dealing with that woman that asked him to curse Elohim. This the woman that asked him to curse Elohim and die. See, when folks about themselves, they're not really considering Yahweh. They're considering this is about me now. I feel a certain way. Curse Elohim and die. So Yahweh sit there and he wait. Then afterwards, he gives this man back everything that he took. But what you think he did with the woman that said curse Elohim and die? Because I can guarantee you she didn't have none of them kids. Go ahead, brother.
That reminds me of the saying that you can't serve two masters, God and money. You got to pick one. If he would have picked money, he would have died, but he picked God.
He picked the right situation. And you always are going to be presented with something like that. The adversary is going to always present situations in front of us. You know? Always. Every last one of us have a choice. But what happens is this. Yahweh is such an Elohim of patience that he gives everybody an opportunity to make their decision. And sometimes it look like you just gonna lose. Sometimes you might have insecurity about a situation and he gonna let you have it. Because he want to see how you gonna deal with it in the end. So, for surely, the woman don't think he gonna come back from this. Come on, man. You done lost everything you done had. Fire came down out of heaven and burnt up stuff. Jack, Yahweh trying to kill you. I need to be free of you. Lo and behold, that ain't what happened. Now, she done open mouth, inserted foot. It's hard to talk when you got toes in your mouth. It's hard to talk now. Now, how you gonna fix all that stuff? Because there's one thing speaking against the man. It was something altogether different to speak against Yahweh because of your current discomfort. Go ahead, bro.
Amos chapter 3 and verse 11. Therefore, thus said the Adonai Elohim, an adversary there shall be even round about the land, and he shall bring down your strength from you, and your palaces shall be spoiled. Thus said Yahweh, as the shepherd taketh out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs, or a piece of an ear, so shall the children of Israel be taken out that dwell in Samaria in the corner of a bed, and in Damascus in a couch. Hear you, and testify in the house of Jacob, saith the Adonai Elohim, the Elohim of hosts, that in the day that I shall visit the transgression of Israel upon him, I will also visit the altars of Bethel, and the horns of the altar shall be cut off and fall to the ground.
You have to understand, these are not people that, these things are not coming as a good thing to the people. So you have to consider the things that people are hearing on Sunday morning with all these niceties. You have some preachers, they smile for 2 hours. Their face hurt from so much smiling. Because it's hard to hold your face like this for 2 straight hours. All they did, they smiled the entire time. God loves you. Oh, he loves you. They got that smile. This kind of stuff right here don't really make you popular with the people. As you are telling them that Yahweh is going to bring judgment on them for their doings. People, yeah, you don't exactly become Mr. Popular. But you have to decide whether or not you're going to be a servant of Yahweh or a servant of the people. I heard a televangelist say, oh, I don't preach that gloom and doom because people don't want to hear it. The people. Right, he know where he get his money from. He said, I get my money from the people. People don't want to hear that. So you just speak nice things and people show up and write checks. Here you go, this is more nice money. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And I will smite the winter house with the summer house, and the houses of ivory shall perish, and the great houses shall have an end, saith Yahweh.
Right. You go to somebody and tell people, Yahweh gonna smite your winter house and your summer house. Right? Get out of here. They don't want to talk to you. So you don't become very popular. But let me tell you something. When righteous judgment comes forth, Yahweh always sends somebody to go beforehand and explain what that's going to be. People do what they want to do. You can talk to people 4 or 5 times over and say, hey, this is not the way to go. They're going to make it to where it becomes a good decision for them. In other words, all they're going to do is they're going to ask their friend. Now, this brother could own a mechanic shop and say, hey, bro, I wouldn't do that with that car. Brother want to do that? He going to keep asking all his friends until he finds somebody to agree with him. Yeah, brother, if I was you, I'd put sugar in that gas tank. That's what they wanted to do anyway. So now they found somebody who agreed with their bad idea. Then they act like at the end of the day, well, I didn't know it was such a bad idea. Well, 4 people told you it was the dumbest thing ever. But you kept on going until you got to number 5. Because number 5 agreed with you. That's the one you wanted. Got it. Got it. Now, if you even look at the ratio, wait a minute now. So you asked 5 people. 4 of them said it was the dumbest idea they had ever heard in their life. And number 5 agreed with you. You see the ratio of this? Now, how did you manage to go with the one who agreed with you? Because that's what you wanted to do anyway. Right. Luke chapter 5. This is why there's certain questions and certain issues you need not deal with because you being set up when somebody even asks you, what do you think about such and such? They set you up. You don't know it. They're trying their best to get you to agree with them. And then you get back, be careful, because after that situation blow up, you the first name gonna come up. Well, when I talked to Sharon, she said she thought it was a good idea. Wait a minute, now you didn't tell me that the place was on fire at the time, you know, because people will conveniently leave out details. You know, would you ever leave out of a house and not grab your precious belongings first? No, I wouldn't do that. But they left out that the building was on fire. So then they go and tell somebody else this situation, and they're like, well, such and such said that I did right. That's what I should have done. Yeah, but you didn't tell such and such the building was on fire, though. See, folks will come and ask you a question and leave off important details. Then use you as the source of their doings. See, folks be getting set up and they have no idea. Folk talk with forked tongue. That tongue flap both ways. That forked tongue, it got forked tongue and 2 tongues. It's saying 2 things at the same time. It's just a flapping. Sometimes you might have to stop and say, well, what's your other tongue saying? What's your other tongue saying? Because one of them tongues is not telling the whole story. So, wait, okay, so am I talking to the left tongue or the right tongue? Okay, now let me talk to the other tongue so that I can get this whole story from both tongues. Then, and even when you give your what you think about the situation, you need to learn how to say, according to what I've heard thus far, according to the information that's been given to me. Y'all haven't noticed how those people answer questions on TV? According to, why you think they do that? Because they know we probably ain't heard all the information here about certain situations. Right. People are good at that. See? Giving you 40% of a situation and want you to make 100% of decision. That's a problem. That is deliberately trying to deceive your brother. That's what it is. See, people think it ain't a lie. No, it's a lie. When you came and gave them half of that scenario, it was a lie. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even in that situation, there should be some diligent inquiry. What do you consider precious to you?
Right.
Oh, my husband laying in the bed while the fire was going.
Right. That's a good question. See? Go ahead.
We were done with that.
We finished.
Oh, where we at? Luke chapter
Luke
6.
5.
Luke 5 and verse 36.
Okay.
And he spake also a parable unto them. No man putteth a piece of a new garment upon an old. If otherwise, then both the new maketh a rent, and the piece that was taken out of the new agreeth not with the old.
This is why we as children of Israel ought to be born again, so that Yahweh can put new wine in new bottles. But see, we like this old bottle we got here. See, so we don't really want to change. See, we might want to change, the outside sticker on the bottle, but we want to leave the bottle the same, because there's certain things that we've gotten accustomed to that we just like. We know it ain't right, but we like it. Go ahead.
Verse 37. And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottles shall perish. But new wine must be put into new bottles, and both are preserved. No man also having drunk old wine straightway desireth new, for he saith, the old is better.
Right. There's some people that like you your old way. They don't like the new you, because they have to alter themselves to deal with the new you. See? The new you means that they can't deal with you the way that they are accustomed to dealing with you. So they like the old wine better. See? I remember you used to hang out all night and drink and smoke and fuss and cuss. I loved you then. You was so nice. What? That's contradictory. I was nice then. Yeah, you was nice when you used to cuss people out. Huh? Right. There are people that openly told me they like the old me better. You didn't care nothing about nobody's feeling. You just cuss them out. You just hurt them, and you just take their feelings. Oh, I loved you so much. Wow. Right. They don't like this new me. Now you always everything. You got to hold on. Let me look at my book. Right. That's a problem to them. See? Because they've already gotten accustomed to dealing with me the old way. So having to deal with me according to what I have outlined for my life, according to what's written in this book, that was a problem to them. Now they like, so I can't talk about Christmas to you? We can't talk about Christmas? We can talk about Christmas. Yeah, we can talk about it. Right. They're like, never mind. There you go with that book again. Right. Let's go to Luke chapter 14. Luke chapter 14, and let's start at verse 26.
If any man come to me, and hate not his father and mother, and wife and children, and brethren, and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Now you have to look at this, and dealing with hate, this is to reject the way of life, and that you're not going to put these things before Yahweh and Yahshua. See, this is not hate meaning being angry with them. If you don't push those things aside and what they like, because everybody got something that they like. And if these people can influence how you deal with Yahweh, then you're not worthy to be a disciple of Yahweh. Because you can't turn around and now, I knew a brother that was a very, very intelligent brother when it came down to this word. But there were certain things in this book that his wife didn't like. And he was a teacher of a Bible study class. And there's certain things he wouldn't teach. Why? Because his wife didn't like it. And I watched Yahweh eventually deal with that situation. See, we can't get around certain things. Well, my brother might not like this, so I ain't gonna teach this. Oh, my cousin ain't gonna like this, so I can't teach that. No. If it's in the book, then it's supposed to be dealt with. Go ahead.
Verse 27. And whosoever does not bear his burden and come after me cannot be my disciple.
Uh-huh.
For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Least happily, after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king, going to make war against another king, sitteth not down first, and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage, and desireth conditions of peace. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple.
Whoever, so likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple. When you're talking about walking in this word and being a person who is going about to deal with other things in this word, you have to make some decisions. Yahweh said if you take care of the things concerning the kingdom, he will take care of your things. And people have not gotten the concept because they're putting all their time and energy into dealing with their things. And you look at their stuff and it's just raggedy. No matter how much they work on it, it still won't get fixed. Right? Because that's where all your energy going, to work on that stuff. How about leave that stuff alone? Go take care of Yahweh's business and watch him put all the rest of your stuff in order. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 2. See, the adversary wants you to put so much attention on one thing that you have completely neglected everything else.
Second Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 1. But I determined this with myself, that I would not come again to you in heaviness. For if I make you sorry, who is he that then that maketh me glad, but the same which is made sorry by me? And I wrote this same unto you, lest when I came I should have sorrow from them of whom I ought to rejoice, having confidence in you all, that my joy is the joy of you all. For out of much affliction and anguish of heart I wrote unto you with many tears, not that you should be grieved, but that you might know the love which I have more abundantly unto you. But if any have caused grief, he has not grieved me, but in part, that I may not overcharge you all. Sufficient to such a man is the punishment which was inflicted of many, so that contrariwise you ought rather to forgive him and comfort him, lest perhaps such a one should be swallowed up with overmuch sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore I beseech you that you would confirm your love toward him. For to this end also did I write, that I might know the proof of you, whether you be obedient in all things. To whom you forgive anything, I forgive also.
Uh-huh.
For if I forgave anything, to whom I forgave it, for your sakes forgive I it in the person of the Mashiach. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Right. So that one thing you leave out there that's floating about, Lucifer knows it's floating about too. So then he gains advantage by twisting and throwing that thing around from place to place. See, you leave it out there, you give the adversary an opportunity. And the more things you got floating about, the more opportunities of hell you have left open unto yourself. Go ahead.
Furthermore, when I came to Troas to preach Mashiach's gospel, and a door was opened unto me of the Adonai, I had no rest in my spirit, because I found not Titus my brother. But taking my leave of them, I went from thence into Macedonia. Now thanks be unto Elohim, which always causeth us to triumph in the Mashiach, and maketh manifest the savor of his knowledge by us in every place.
All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 29. Isaiah chapter 29.
Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 1. Woe to Ariel! To Ariel, the city where David dwelt, add you year to year. Let them kill sacrifices. Yet I will distress Ariel, and there shall be heaviness and sorrow, and it shall be unto me as Ariel. And I will camp against you round about, and will lay siege against you with a mount, and I will raise forts against you. And you shall be brought down, and shall speak out of the ground, and your speech shall be low out of the dust, and your voice shall be as of one that has a familiar spirit out of the ground, and your speech shall whisper out of the dust. Moreover, the multitude of your strangers shall be like small dust, and the multitude of the terrible ones shall be as shaft that passeth away. Yea, it shall be at an instant suddenly. You shall be visited of Yahweh of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. And the multitude of all nations that fight against Ariel, even all that fight against her and her munition, and that distress her, shall be as a dream of a night vision. It shall even be as when a hungry man dreameth, and, behold, he eateth, but he awaketh, and his soul is empty. Or as when a thirsty man dreameth, and, behold, he drinketh, but he awaketh, and behold, he is faint, and his soul hath appetite. So shall the multitude of all the nations be that fight against Mount Zion. Stay yourselves, and wonder. Cry you out, and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
Right, they stagger and do all of these things. They are drunken with strange doctrine. Go ahead.
For Yahweh hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, hath he covered. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, Read this, I pray you. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, Read this, I pray you. And he saith, I am not learned. Wherefore the Adonai said, For as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
Right, and that's what we end up hearing. We end up hearing a bunch of people talk who are saying things that they may multiply the amount of people that come to them. So they speak nice things, and some may not even appear nice, but it's nice in the aspect that they don't have to change anything about their lives. See, if you can just come and keep on doing the same stuff that you was doing, hey, the door then becomes open wide for a whole lot of people to enter in. And all they have to do, they don't have to really change anything. They can keep on doing the same foul stuff they was doing. They can keep on eating the same old foul stuff they was eating. And life is wonderful. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonderful. For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh.
And it don't matter how deep you think you're hiding it. Yahweh knows it's there. And Yahweh is not lacking time. You're the one gonna run out of time. Yahweh ain't gonna run out of time. So what happened is when Yahweh don't deal with things right away, people think Yahweh agree with them. Good?
And their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us? And who knoweth us? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say unto him that framed it, he had no understanding? Is it not yet a very little while? And Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest. And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The meek also shall increase their joy in Yahweh, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Therefore thus said Yahweh, who redeemed Abraham, concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. But when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands, in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear the Elohim of Israel.
Right. Yet we have many people telling us not to use the name. When he's talking about, and they shall sanctify my name. They shall not use his name in vain. Yet you have people on Sunday morning telling you he got so many names it don't matter which one you use. Then you have the synagogue of Satan telling people, yeah, we know the name, but it's too holy to say it, so just say the name. Yet the book says, publish you the name. How can you publish the name if you can't say it? Go ahead.
They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine.
All right. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to John chapter 4. Yohanan chapter 4. And we're going to read verses 22 through 24.
Verse 22. You worship you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Yehudis.
Salvation is of the children of Israel. For this reason, of is a derivative of from. You have to understand, they don't get to come to this word without dealing with Israel. So, the adversary has come in a way to make it more difficult for people to understand who true Israel is. That's the purpose of putting these brothers on the corner in their karate suits with their megaphones so they can holler and cuss at everybody. So when you go to tell people you're a Hebrew Israelite, they say, oh no, those not the people. Go ahead.
But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. Elohim is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Elohim is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. So this mere going through of the motions of even holy days and doing all of those things, it is not pleasing unto Yahweh. And people think that they're doing something. It is not pleasing unto Yahweh. Yahweh is a spirit, and we must worship him in spirit and truth. And he understands what spirit we gather in. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.